What kind of legacy will we leave when our days upon this earth are gone? Tell me who will carry on this work that we've begun, care enough to be the keeper of the dream, this legacy, our legacy.
Clean water, clean air, a suitable place to live. That's all we really need to survive. It's also what every species of wildlife in our state needs. As we've encroached on the natural world around us, habitat or suitable places to live for many of our species of wildlife have been seriously affected. For years now, sportsmen and women have paid most of the bills for wildlife management through their purchase of licenses to hunt and fish. But we're not getting wildlife managers the resources they need to protect all species, not just those we hunt and fish. Why is it important to protect our wildlife, both common species and those whose populations are threatened or endangered? There are several reasons. Some species serve as indicator species. Like canaries used to test the air and underground mines of old, they indicate to us, by their very presence, that their habitats are healthy too. Conserving wildlife and natural places by protecting both clean air and water benefits both wildlife and people. We also need to preserve species to protect our way of life. Measures to prevent wildlife population decline or extinction can affect activities like recreation and economic development on both private and public lands. That sometimes means jobs are lost and communities are affected. When an animal is listed as endangered, management decisions shift away from our state fish and wildlife managers, the people who are most knowledgeable and sensitive to local conditions and concerns. Recognizing these challenges, the U.S. Congress created the State Wildlife Grants Program in 2001. Congress found the traditional sources of state fish and wildlife agency funding, licenses, permit fees, and fines, and traditional federal aid to game species are simply not enough to provide for sound scientific management of all species. Supplemental funding of our state fish and wildlife agency from the annual federal budget is essential to preserving the health of all species. This is our nation's core effort for keeping wildlife species intact. Our state and tribal fish and wildlife agencies have been receiving state wildlife grants since 2001 to proactively manage all species of wildlife. In 2006, as part of the State Wildlife Grant Program, Congress required each state to write a wildlife action plan, a blueprint conserving wildlife in our state. Our plan emphasizes collaboration and partnerships, not top-down regulations. The action plan is firmly grounded in science, and it balances differing interests in how we use the lands and waters that are essential to wildlife. The result? A practical action plan that works for wildlife and for people. Our challenge is in implementing the plan. The federal government requires a 50% match from each state to use these grants. Cash donations, volunteer hours, and in-kind donations by such groups as the Nature Conservancy, Ducks Unlimited, the Audubon Society, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and dozens of others have helped our state to meet the match. But our sweat equity and generous giving has been fully leveraged. We need a major effort to maintain support at the federal level and to build support at the state level to ensure habitat and wildlife work is fully funded. The Teaming with Wildlife Coalition, which includes over 5,000 member organizations, is actively working to get new and greater funding for wildlife conservation. They invite you in making sure our policymakers, state and federal, know that you want better state wildlife grant funding in order to restore, reestablish, and maintain healthy habitat for ourselves, our children, and future generations.
Seems like only yesterday I watched my daughter take her first steps in this world. Such a precious little girl. And through the years I've tried to teach her what's important, things she'll need to know to make her mark, and to always trust her heart. What kind of legacy will we leave when our days upon this earth are gone? Tell me who will carry on this work that we've begun, care enough to be the keeper of the dream, this legacy.
We are clearly at a crossroads, and we have a choice. We can wait for wildlife to decline and react to problems with expensive last-ditch recovery efforts. Or we can act now to prevent wildlife from becoming endangered. Taken together, the Wildlife Action Plans represent the right decision to take action before wildlife recovery becomes costly and controversial. Working together, we can take proactive and cost-effective steps to conserve wildlife before it's too late. You can help. For more information, visit www.teaming.com. You can find out about national and state-level efforts to conserve wildlife.
What kind of legacy will we leave when our days upon this earth are gone? Tell me who will carry on this work that we've begun, care enough to be the keeper of the dream, this legacy.